Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And welcome to Building a Go-to-Market Strategy for a Successful Launch with Arjita Sethi. My name is Colin Mahan, and I'm a program manager at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. For those of you who may not know, the NASDAQ Center is a nonprofit dedicated to enabling entrepreneurs from all over the world to realize their maximum potentials and grow. As you may have seen in the chat, the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center, along with our partner Mentor Club, launched a free mentor matching platform for entrepreneurs called Mentor Makers. Create your own advisory board to guide and inspire you with in-the-moment mentorship from topic experts and professionals dedicated to providing exceptional mentorship to entrepreneurs across all races, industries, and geographies. So find or become a mentor today by using the link in the chat. Mentorship matters to all entrepreneurs. Their success is dependent on it. Quick housekeeping item, we're going to open up for live Q&A at the end of the event. So please submit your questions for Arjita in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen throughout the presentation. We'll try to get to them all. Again, none of what we do here at the center could be possible without all the amazing support from our sponsors, including NASDAQ, Lehigh University, Bank of the West, KPMG, Wilson Sonsini, Woodruff Sawyer, BPM, and NZTE. We are continuously humbled by their contributions. During these still unique times, we're curious on how sentiment is among the entrepreneurs we work with. So we're going to start by taking a poll to let us know how you're feeling about your business right now. Another item in this poll helps us understand the challenges of the entrepreneurs that we serve, what they're going through. So what's keeping you up at night helps us understand and design and deliver the responsive programming that we deliver on webinars like this one. So just take a moment. We won't eat up too much time because I want to jump into the content this morning or afternoon or evening, depending on what time zone you're on. But really appreciate you guys putting those in. It looks like we're a little bit over 50%. So thanks for putting those in. I'm going to end this poll, share those results. All right, optimism's at the top, but understandably, anxiousness, surviving, and there's a little fear out there. We're still not back to normal, but it's good. If I were to vote, I would vote optimism. So what's keeping you up at night? Let's take a look at those. We've got finance, sales, and then marketing at number 3. So I'm gonna stop sharing those. I think, and I believe, and I am confident that our special guest today will be able to help you guys with some of those items. So that being said, without any further delay, please join me in giving a warm welcome in the chat to our special guest. Arjita Sethi is the founder. She's a professor and an investor, and she's on the Center's advisory board and a chair of the Impact Committee. And we're so excited to have her. Arjita, happy to have you. Thanks so much for doing this.
I am very, very excited for this session today. This is something that is very close to my heart. So thank you for having me. I'm very, very happy to be here.
Thank you. Looking forward to it, and over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hey, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, based on wherever you are. These are crazy times, I know, but we are going to talk a lot about launches, go-to-market today. We are also going to be talking a lot about how to go ahead and optimize. Most of entrepreneurs' time is very, very precious, especially in a startup. So we're going to talk a lot about all those steps that you can take. And being a founder, there are a million things in our mind. So my job here today is to optimize that process of go-to-market and launch for you. So I hope I get to do that. And if there are any questions, please feel free to reach out or put the questions in the chat or send it to Colin, as he said, and we can take those up towards the end of the session. So I would love if each one of you could sit actually in a comfortable spot, have something to take your notes on, have something to keep yourself hydrated, and take as many notes as possible. Any questions that hit your mind, come to your mind, note them down, any takeaways that you really want to have. And of course, at the end of the presentation, you can have access to the session that I have given, the presentation that I have given. I'm happy to share that as well. So without any delay, let me quickly share my screen. All right, welcome everyone. We are going to be talking about building a go-to-market strategy and how to successfully launch your startup. Before that, let me give a quick introduction. I'm Arjita Sethi. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I am a board member and an educator, an angel investor, and a professor. TSE was my first startup that I started in India 16 years ago. I was 16 at that time. This startup reached over 100,000 people in the 7 years that I was running it. And then 7 years ago, I moved to Silicon Valley to start Equally. Equally is a venture-backed edtech company that leverages augmented reality to connect kids to the real world. We became one of the semi-finalists at the Global Learning X Prize. That was a $15 million prize sponsored by Elon Musk. And as you can see, we are here. At that time, Equally was called School of Games. So clearly we changed our name, and we've been through 7 pivots to actually find product market fit and before we could actually launch. But that's a story for another time. Right now, I'm the founder of New Founder School, which is a platform for immigrant and first-time founders to understand how to go through launch and scaling of their business. So like I said, this is something really close to my heart because launching is something that I have learned the hard way through experience, but it is also one of the most exciting times. Yes, building a product is great, but what is even greater is giving that product out to people, but in a real, organic, systematic ways so that you can learn from the process and the possibility of success is higher as well. So let's get started with our session. We are going to be talking about launches, go to market. If there are any other questions, and I saw there were some questions around TAM, total addressable market, market sizing, research, please put them in the chat or give them to Colin and we can take them towards the end of the session. I'm happy to answer those questions. But first things first, this is literally why you're launching. You're launching your startup, you're launching your business, you're launching your offering for your customer. So you need to first ask yourself, who is your customer? And if you're able to answer these questions, we can go ahead and step into the plan of the actual launch. So this is a grid that I created coming from experience of launching multiple products in my startups, in different startups, and I created a 7-step process. So let's go through it. It's a really fast way to even understand that. Do you understand your user? Do you have customers? Do you really know who your customer is? And once you do that, then is the time that you can actually think about launching. So let's go through it. Step number 1 is, whose problem are you solving? If you know this, then you can go on to step 2. Otherwise, first figure this out. Step 2, are there more than 50 people who have this problem? And I know people say, wait, 50 people talk about a million people market, a billion people market. Yes, but to start off, have you yourself identified 50 people who would be actually needing what you're creating? So if you have a yes here, then you can go on to step number 3. How will they hear about your solution? Now, this is where the marketing starts coming into play. Are they going to be hearing it at a conference where you'll have a booth, or they'll be hearing it through ads? They'll be hearing it through your digital marketing campaign, your website. How will they hear about the solution? If they have been able to hear about the solution, you figured this out, you can go on to step number 4. Are they ready to pay for this problem to be solved? Yes, people want their problems to be solved, but not each of the problems they want to pay for. And I'll give you an example. Our first version at Equally was a literacy platform that used to teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. And we went ahead and we started charging, we started asking parents to pay $3 a month for it. and we couldn't convert parents into paid users. They would use the free trial and they would never convert. They would always use the free version of the platform. And we started talking to them. After talking to almost 200 parents, I realized there are a million apps online that are saying we can teach reading, writing, math, all of that in a fun way. You can even learn coding in a fun way, and they're all free. Why would the parents want this? So clearly, yes, quality education was an issue, but they were getting solutions for free. So just because I was a better education provider wouldn't be enough for them to pay. So we had to think more, and we started talking to our users like, okay, now that you have all these tech solutions, what is still missing? And parents said, our kids are becoming screen zombies. They are just continuously hooked onto screen. They're disconnected from the real world. They are not moving. They're not interacting. And that was where we realized this is what we have to create, because nobody else is thinking about that. So we went ahead and focused on the movement and the activity part of it, because we knew learning was being taken care and parents were ready to pay for this. So this is why this step 4 is such a caveat in even thinking about, will this be a great business? So just being a great product doesn't make you a great business. You don't have to just be 10x better. I know there's this whole idea that, are you 10x better than the product in the market? It's not just that. Is the customer ready to pay you to solve this? Now, if you find yes here, then you can go ahead and find out who your competitors are, who else is solving it for them. Once you find that out, go on to step 6. Are you better than other solutions? And I've already walked you through how I went through the discovery phase for my own startup, the EdTech one, and how I figured out what my differentiation or uniqueness could be. And then if you are better than other solutions, the last step is, now when you gave your product, it still doesn't mean on step 6 that you found a customer. You only find a customer when they pay for it and tell their friends about it. So if they did both these things, not just one, a lot of people just pay $3 to just get rid of things, okay, fine, let me just give $3. But did they tell people about it? Did they tell people around them? That is when you have truly got a customer. So this is the prelude to literally a go-to-market strategy, that these are essentially the 7 steps that you have to go through to even feel or think that I got a customer. Now that you know this, we can go ahead and talk about the 5 steps to go-to-market strategy. So let's start with the first one, project management. And I know you all would say, wait, this is pretty simple. This is what we are doing all the time. This is one of the things that entrepreneurs struggle with most all the time. They think marketing, selling, product development, operations, logistics, legal, all of them is important, equally important. And we are really bad at prioritization. We're really bad at understanding, hey, we need to step away from this and give our attention to this. And this is why project management starting today is so important, no matter when your launch is. You need to get this system in place. Go think about the priority of everything. Or you might have developed a product and you're not happy with it. It's okay. The point is not to get the perfect product. The point is to get the product that helps a customer. So if it is at that level, it's okay. Focus on the customer. Especially during launch, you have to be so close to your potential users, so close to your potential customers. If you're so close to your product, it's not going to be successful. We did that earlier. So one of the versions that we launched, like I said, we did our launch with almost 12,000 kids in 5 different countries. And we were so proud of the platform that we created. And you can go and see the platform we created. We did a crowdfunding campaign in 2015, reached our goal of 20,000, and in just 20 days. And we were very, very excited. Parents loved it, teachers loved it, and 12,000 kids were playing the platform. And then we started entering classrooms, and just for experience, I wanted to talk to the kids and see how they were doing. Being a teacher, I also wanted to know their opinion, but I should have done that faster. Because when we talked to the kids about how they liked our platform, they said, this is nice, but can you make something fun? And that was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because we forgot our key stakeholder, the kids. So, who is your key stakeholder? Who's going to actually use your product every day? Think about that. They are on your priority list as well. Make sure. The second is ownership. Startups are known for everybody has to do everything. I know that happens. Yes, everybody has to do everything. But what are the clear owners? Who are the clear owners who are actually going to take up a task and do it? Then the timeline. Are you going to be able to do this over the next 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks? Have that clear timeline. And lastly, what are the metrics of success? If you're able to go ahead and put this for every task that you need to do up till your launch, you're golden. You'll be great. And trust me, this is going to reduce your anxiety so much. I know so many of you said you are all anxious right now with the startup scene. This is going to help. Put it out, lay it out. You can see this is literally my board here, which is going on, and we have post-its and everything so that the revolving tasks can keep going on. So make sure that you are doing this as step one. Once you have that clarity, we can go on to step two. That is social cleanup. What I mean generally by social cleanup is just go in incognito mode and type in the name of your company, your startup, your founders, your team, what is coming up. You need to know what is coming up because this is what people are searching for. This is what people are going to see. So you need to go through this entire social cleanup. And remember, I'm still not talking about your launch anywhere close. We've just talked about product management and online cleanup. This is way sooner than actually thinking about your launch. We'll be talking about the launch eventually. But online cleanup, you and your company's online presence, website has all the things in place. Even if it is going to change and everything, it's just a simple landing page, it's completely okay, but make sure there is a call to action. There, once people go onto the website, they're not going on a broken link. There's a clear value proposition on all platforms. What do you do? Tell us clearly. Explain it to me as if I was 5 years old. Be as simple as that. When we started talking about what we were building, we initially started talking about we are building an augmented reality platform, and most parents didn't care about an augmented reality platform. So we switched it up and we said, we are trying to get your kids to move and connect with the real world. And that's it. That resonated with parents. It had nothing to do with our computer vision, with our machine learning algorithm, with our augmented reality platform, with all the fancy things that we were trying to do. But honestly, all these fancy things are in the back end, not really for the customer. All these fancy things help the customer achieve an outcome. So stick to that outcome. And lastly, same usernames and URLs. Make sure all your usernames and URLs are same, especially for your company. You don't have underscores and slashes and fancy special characters somewhere and then some other URLs somewhere else. Make sure they all match so that it helps in your SEO ranking as well. So you can choose to do it. I know a lot of founders have less time. I don't have time to be online all the time. So you can go ahead and choose what are the channels that you want your company to be present on. You don't have to be there on Twitter, on Clubhouse, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on those million other platforms that I'm not naming right now, but you can choose any two that you are going to be there on. And really go ahead, do a great job there. Put the same information on all the channels. If one channel says, hey, you are going to be solving, or you are going to help immigrant founders, and the other one says you help in launching and growing, not going to work. People are not going to be able to relate. They are going to check you online. That's the first thing, especially right now. Everything's remote. That's the first thing that people do. And then put the same logos, messages, and call to actions. It should be same throughout. Your logos, please put high resolution logos. So many companies, so many founders that I talk to, they are not getting any users and anything because in their profile picture, the logo resolution is so low that people are not able to trust this brand. And this happens, yes, it really does. So make sure that you're doing this. Step number 3, clear value proposition. And how do you build clear value proposition? What am I talking about is what value are you creating? Again, it has nothing to do with your features. Stop selling your features. Nobody cares. Nobody's interested. What everybody's interested is how is it going to help them? What value, what impact your product creates? And that should be your marketing message. That should be the message on your website, on your socials. Who needs this value? Be very clear about it. So go through that who is your customer template and narrow down exactly who your customer is and how will they know about this value. What are the channels that you've chosen? If you are having trouble finding your value proposition, I would suggest make sure to do these 3 steps. Find 15 potential users or customers for your solution, explain your offering to them, and then be absolutely quiet and just tell them to share the words that come to their mind after listening to your offering. What are the words that they are going to be saying? And those are the words that people are going to understand. Talk in their language. Don't try to tell them what a great platform you have built. Just tell them what is the definition of your product, of your offering, and let them guide you, because this is what they're searching online. If they are looking for the most sustainable platform for fashion, they are looking for those words. If they are looking for the next ed tech company, they're not going to say ed tech company that uses augmented reality. They're going to be saying things that can teach my kid math, best possible methods to teach my kid English. So those are the things that they are looking for. And this is what you have to start using. I think most of you are aware of this value proposition canvas. This is the canvas that people start using very early on in their startup journey. But once you're launching, this is when I actually want you to go ahead and use this canvas. It has 2 parts. One is your side, what are your products and services and offerings? And the other side is who is your customer. So if you can match the pains of your customer and relieve them, you'll have a successful go-to-market strategy. You'll have a successful launch. So make sure you're matching their pains with your pain relievers. It cannot kind of be matching. It has to be exactly that. So when I started New Founder School, why I started it is I was an immigrant founder. I had trouble figuring out the legality, all the things of how do I incorporate a company? Can I even do that? Wait, how do I hire somebody? Can I even do that? All those questions were in my mind. Then I did not have a network. How do I start finding other entrepreneurs in my network? Wait, how do I take my first step if I have multiple ideas? How do I refine? So I started putting these questions out, and I wanted to see whether or not other immigrant founders or first-time founders or expat founders who don't have such networks also go through the similar thing. Over 250 people said that they do. So that is where that validation matched. There were a lot of other things that I was thinking that they would need help with. They didn't. They could help and figure all that stuff out. So I did not have to reinvent the wheel at all. So think about what exactly is the pain of your customer. Step 4, building a launch campaign. And I know everybody thinks, oh my God, PR and press, and we're going to do all that. No. First of all, every startup goes through these 3 phases. One is a secret launch, one is an intimate launch, and one is a public launch. Let's go through what each one of them means. Secret launch. This generally happens about 12 weeks before the public launch or even before. But since startups are going really fast and testing and iterating, I would say 12 weeks is a great sweet spot. It's within your team and your friends. The idea of this is to test out all your user flows. Are they able to seamlessly go through the things that you want them to go through? Are they able to reach the features that you want them to actually get? Do they behave the way you want your users to behave on the platform? And the idea is that you break everything in the product and fix everything. And no, this is not product testing. Product testing has to be before this. The secret launch is if these friends were the people who were actually your users, what could go wrong? Let's fix that in the user experience, not in the code of the app or anything. Yes, all of that has to be taken care of. I understand. But the point here is to see, is your intention of why you created this product matching the user behavior when they come onto your product? And if it doesn't, there's something wrong. And that's why I say generally do it 12 weeks before so that you can fix it. If you're not able to find that behavior, fix it so that you can reach that behavior. Once you're done with fixing everything, you go for your intimate launch. Intimate launch is generally done 6 weeks before the public launch or 4 weeks. A lot of people even do it 2 weeks before, which is completely okay, but 6 to 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks is like the sweet spot, I would say. This is generally done with your waitlisted people, the people that you have had a conversation about and who said, oh my God, this is amazing. I would love to try it out. This is the intimate launch that you do with them. Anyone who said, I would love to try it out, I hope you're taking their email and saying, we are going to be launching this in the next quarter. I would love to send it to you. And this is where you are giving them early access. You are giving them deals to show that, hey, we care about you. You are a VIP for us. And New Founder School is going through a public launch in a month. But in the past 9 months, we've done multiple intimate launches to actually see what is the sweet spot, what is the best user experience that we need to give to our users. So your intimate launch doesn't just happen once, it might happen again and again with every new feature. Instagram does that too. Right now, most of you can see Reels, but they started off giving Reels feature only to a few. They did that 2 years ago with Stories. They did that a couple of years ago with IGTV when they launched that. So they do not give access to all the features at the same time. And of course, it is because the product isn't ready to handle so many people, but it is also to show you are our valued user. You've been so loyal and you've been so interested. We really want to give you something special. And this can be that something special. I got access to this to this platform 6 weeks before everyone else did. And this is literally the point where you're going to get your early adopters. These are the best types of user who are going to fall in love with your product. I remember in 2016 when we had launched our second version, the second pivot, we did our iteration of our EdTech product. And I was at this conference, I was at a booth where a mom came, and she's this amazing entrepreneur. She has raised almost $40 million in funding and is really a champion of other female founders. So she came to my booth and she had a 3-year-old daughter at that time. And she said, I would love to test this out. And she took the product. We didn't stay in touch, and she kept testing it. I think he kept using it. And then in 2018, 3 years later, our product had evolved so much. That is when we had done our public launch. And I met her at a conference where we both were speakers. And she came to me and she said, hey, you are Arjita. You had School of Games. At that time, equally was called School of Games. My daughter still uses that platform. You know how many people I've given that platform to? That is an early adopter. They are going to love your product and they are going to talk about your product. You don't need to do anything special. Just make sure that you are giving them early access. So this is a very, very important phase for any startup. Most startups are in intimate launch all the time. all the time. They just have a wait list for most of the features. Clubhouse is doing this right now. They've not done a public launch for everyone. Superhuman did it a while ago. They've just opened up that anybody can go ahead and sign up. A lot of sustainable fashion websites have done it, and it has worked really well. It also helps in building your user pipeline really well. When you go ahead and say you're going to get access to something awesome way sooner, everybody wants a slice of that. And of course, you are able to give a personalized attention. Each of this person who's going to be joining this intimate launch, you can go ahead and help them out if they get stuck. You can talk to them, get great feedback, improve on your features, which you don't get when it is a public launch, because then you cannot control who's using it, what their experience looks like. And finally, we go to public launch. Your ads, conferences, influencer campaigns, referrals from existing user, digital marketing, SEO, PR, guest appearances, all of that comes into place. But remember, there are no more public launches. It's not like this big Apple conference that, hey, we've launched this iPhone, everybody should buy it. It doesn't happen when you are a startup. When I say public launch, I mean that you're ready to now put up an ad about it or put up some sponsored content about it. And I consider that as a public launch. Not every startup needs PR or has to do PR and honestly can afford PR. So this is something at the bottom, to be honest, in the beginning. Talk to the people. If you're doing the other things as a startup, that should be good enough. Create your network. Let your customers talk about your product. I remember in 2018 when we did our public launch, we launched it in Westfield Mall in San Francisco, and we literally did an open day. It was a Halloween setup where we said, come use DaVinci Club and celebrate Halloween with us. And we did this setup at the co-working space where we were working, because clearly we couldn't afford a shop or an open space in a mall. So it was a co-working space. They had a storefront. We went ahead, we did this. We had almost 300 parents walk in and go through DaVinci experience that day. And they tweeted about us. They went ahead and they shared. And it got us a lot of recognition online. I don't think through PR I would have got that. But also remember who your audience is. I do not need PR for equally, because my parents are not going to check out Forbes and they're going to buy my product. No, they're going to listen to other parents. So your PR can be your existing customers. Think who your PR is. So you don't have to go to Business Insider or NBC and all of that. Maybe it's important because that's where your customer is, but PR should be done only to reach your customer. Getting an article in a great magazine doesn't mean, or media doesn't mean you will get audience or you will get customers. The point of being a founder is not popularity, it is revenue. So please go ahead and focus who's my paid customer who's going to talk about my product, not how many followers I have or how much engagement I have. Doesn't matter. It's no metric of success actually in the startup world. This is what your investors are going to ask. This is what everybody's going to ask. How many paid users do you have? Step 5, optimization. And there are 5 tips that I'm going to walk you through. These are the tips that I have used personally. These are the tips that have helped me. And these are the tips that I love. First one, network with the right users, shut down the noise. As an entrepreneur of a startup, you don't have endless time, and I don't want you to burn out. And I know as founders, we always hear, always be selling, always be pitching, always be networking. No, please don't do that. Go ahead and do your research before trying to network with someone. Make sure that this is the person that is going to either buy your product or know someone within their network who will buy. Be very specific about your energy, about the people you are interacting with. I did the mistake of actually trying to do all of that initially, and I burnt out terribly. And honestly, it showed up in my pitches. It showed up in the way I would talk about my product. I lost the passion. Even though I had it, I was just tired. So this is not a race. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint. But please make sure that you are conserving your energy and talking to the right people and asking them exactly what you need. You don't have to beat around the bush. Be clear. Hey, I saw this. This is what I think we can work together on. I think you would really like to use this product because it is going to solve 1, 2, and 3 for you. How you can do that is scavenge the profiles of people who you currently think are your users. See where their lives and your product fits, and then make a user journey into a success journey. If these 3 things can happen, then you go ahead and talk to this person. Otherwise, no, sit back, please move on. Just because they can kind of use your product doesn't mean they will. And that's why I go back to this quote, build something 100 people love, not something 1 million people kind of like, by Brian Chesky, who's the co-founder and CEO of Airbnb. Focus on your first 100 people. I know the word scale is very important as a startup, but you only think about scale after you've got your first 100 paid users who love your product. After that, you can think about the pipeline to 10,000. That's the next phase. But are you here first? So make sure you are going to the right people, not everyone. Tip number 2, spend about 3 hours a week talking to your potential or current users. Every Friday for me is blocked. I have back-to-back sessions, back-to-back meetings, either with the people who are using New Founder School right now or potential people who could be part of New Founder School, so that I know, am I doing the right thing? Am I building the right thing? What needs to be cut out of the product? What needs to be added onto the platform? And the same thing I did for my EdTech product as well. I went through and made sure that I am going and talking to my users. I would interview 25 parents every week. And I would just sit back and, listen. What is working? What is not working? Why would you use this product? Why wouldn't you use this product? How can you do this? There are some rules. First of all, again, the saying, always be pitching. Please don't always be pitching. You cannot always be selling. It seems very inauthentic. And it seems as if you are here only to sell. There is no other real motivation. But go back to your why. Why did you build that product? Why did you create this service? To create an impact, right? To change something that wasn't working. So stick to that. And instead of pitching, talk about your idea and sit back and let the users or the customers actually talk. Listen to them and be okay with awkward silences, especially around questions, how much will you pay for this? Because I know a lot of people would try to fill up silences thinking, hey, they have no idea. Would you pay $5? Would you pay $10? I was working and helping a startup in the kids space recently, and they are launching their digital platform. And we went ahead and thought, it's a great product, such a unique product. I really love it. And they went ahead and they priced their product at $7. And I said, wait, why are you pricing it? Have you talked to anybody who has said that it should be $7? And they said no, but we assume, because the competitors are like this, Disney is like this, and ABC Mouse is like this, and all of the other competitors are charging this. I said, okay, let's talk to some of the users, and we started doing user interviews. More than 90% of the users said they would pay $50 a month for this service, and then they launched it with 50. And they actually got paid users. Imagine they would have charged $7 for this. Yes, you don't have to always have billion people market. If you are charging something really high, it can be for a niche market and you can still be $1 billion company. So think like that and be okay with awkward silences, because if we wouldn't have been quiet, that startup would still be charging $7 today instead of 50. So think about it. Number 3, create your message with the user's words, not your words. Please stop pitching your idea to people. Listen to your user. What are they saying? What are they talking about all the time? So as a teacher, I knew everything about literacy for kids when we were launching our EdTech product. But I started seeing parents, like I told you, were not using my product. And I started talking to them. After talking to almost 200 parents, I realized they use this word called screen zombies a lot. I had no idea. And I did not know this was the number one concern for parents. So that is what we used in our copy as well. Don't let your kids become screen zombies. Let's make your kids move. And that became the main point of our digital campaign that did so well. So listen to them and think like a user, because this is what they are going to resonate with. This is what they're going to connect with. And again, go back to your why. You created this so that people could find help, so that they could solve their problem. So this is not coming from the place of ego. Hey, I've built this, now you better use it. It's coming from the place of service. I want to build something that's going to change. Tip number 4 is stay close to the competition and far from your product. So whatever your competition is, I want you to go ahead and see these 3 things. First of all, why is your competition successful? What are they doing really well? So see, what are people sharing about them on digital media, online? What are they talking, or in circles? How do they communicate? I am a big fan of rental fashion. So I talk about Rent the Runway and Nuuly so much, so much. They've not paid me even $1 to do that. But I talk about it so much. So many of my friends have converted because I just love them, their service. So why are people talking about them? Think about it. What mistakes are they doing? This is something that you're going to find on their App Store reviews, on Yelp, on Quora, on their social media. If somebody doesn't like your product or service, they're definitely going to talk about it. So go ahead and see what are the negative comments. That is your opportunity. That is what you need to solve. Everything else is getting solved. You don't have to do that again. There are enough new ideas to work on. So go ahead and keep seeing what they're doing wrong. And lastly, believe in your big vision, not your temporary offering. This is just something you created right now. What it's going to evolve into is going to be different. Facebook started as a social network for colleges and students. Today, look at them. Are they that? Amazon started as an online bookstore. Are they that? Netflix started as a DVD subscription service. Are they that? Imagine if they were just happy and content with that, and they were so attached to that offering. Would they become the companies that they have become today? So please, what you're going to be in 5 years is going to be very different. And for that, you need to listen to the demand of the market, demands of your user. And the last tip is fix your sales process. A lot of startups early on think, hey, we don't have to figure out about this because we are not charging anyone. So first of all, if you're not charging anyone, you don't have a revenue, I really need to talk to you, because that's a red flag for me as an entrepreneur if you're not thinking about charging now and it's going to be free for now. Unless you think, it's going to be a social network that's going to have millions of people on your platform. That's a different thing. But other than that, if that's not happening, you need to fix your sales process. You need to think there has to be a way to make money. But notice the following. What are the words that you use and you get the best responses? What are the words that you use and you get the least responses? Check out these words as soon as possible. You have to go ahead and keep measuring every action as an entrepreneur. And how many steps of back and forth are there before the customer pays you? Do you have to send a proposal, then they have to agree, then you have to send a document, an agreement, and then they have to sign, and then finally you send them the link and then they pay? Is it that hard? And can you standardize all of this? If you can standardize all of this, it is going to help you again conserve your energy and show you as a professional. You have this figured out. So this is something that I generally tell founders. This is something that I created this term. It's called the tap test. What it basically means is, imagine you were in a coffee shop and a person comes to you, you're trying out your product and you're just testing it out. And it happened with me in a coffee shop. So I put this here. So I was trying out our product and playing around with it just to see, what happens. And the person taps you at the back and says, hey, I want that product. How do I get it? How do I pay for it? And at that moment, if you're like, we're in early stages, we're still figuring things out. Thank you for saying this is great. You've lost that customer. At that point, you go ahead and tell them, hey, we are going to be launching soon. I would love to put you on the wait list if you're interested and happy to talk. Why don't we grab a cup of coffee? That's an almost converted customer. So think about this tap test. It is really going to be helpful. It is really going to get you to the thing that, hey, I need to start building a pipeline even before the product is ready. And how you can fix that? See your proposals, your payment structure. Is it a subscription? Is it a one-time payment? A standardized form of understanding the user. So if somebody says they want to be on a wait list, you can send them a quick form and you can actually see whether or not they're the right user. In 30 seconds, they can fill that up and you can figure it out whether or not they're the right user. And if you're an app or a website, then how many steps to a payment should not generally be more than 3. If it is going to take them more than 3 steps to pay, the other day I was working with a founder. They're building the sustainable platform for brands to go ahead and for people to go ahead and buy sustainable items, everything, whatever they want to buy. And there are 7 steps until I can purchase an item. And that's where the drop off is happening. So if this is happening on your platform, people are not going to buy. Thanks to TikTok and Instagram Reels, the attention span of people is 15 seconds or less. So if we cannot grab their attention in that time, it's not going to work. So let's make sure that all this is fixed and all this is ready to go before your launch. This is just a quick recap of the 5 things that we talked about, but essentially, I want you to know that ideas are just that. It's the execution that really makes the startup successful. So go-to-market is all about execution. Use these templates, use these steps to actually start figuring out, when am I ready to actually go out in public and launch? When am I ready to actually go ahead and start charging people for my offering? How do I plan it? What is the timeline of everything? And what does success look like for this launch? Does it mean 100 paid users, 500 paid users, 1,000 paid users? What does it really mean? So for your next steps, find out who is your customer. Go ahead, do a little bit of project management, clean your online socials and your online presence, work on your launch plan, and go ahead, work on your implementation and optimization. Let's take a minute for everyone to note down anything that you had in your mind, and then we can open up for Q&A.
Amazing overview. Thank you so much, Arjita. I love that. Likes aren't revenue, or likes aren't necessarily revenue, which is very true. We did have one question that came in sort of in the early portion of this presentation from Adam. He asked, how do you identify and research the 50 people whose problem they are solving? So I think it's in the initial stages, really early.
Yeah. Thanks, Adam, for that question. So first of all, if you have to find your first 50 people, the way I went ahead is I started trying to see where my potential users generally talk or share. And for us, it was basically Instagram for parents and Twitter for teachers. Because we realized that a lot of teachers talk to each other about products. There are Twitter chats on education that teachers run. So we went ahead and went to Twitter for teachers, and for, of course, parents, we went on Instagram. And I DM'd all the parents and all the teachers that I could find. I think there was a time when Instagram literally stopped and banned me that you cannot send any more DMs, but it came to that point. But remember, I got only 10% of responses because it goes into others folder. Some people are not interested, but that's how I went about creating the pipeline for my first 100 users. Send them a DM about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and why are you the right person to do it. That's how you'll find your first 50 people. And if you're not able to find that in the first 12 weeks or 24 weeks, 3 to 6 months, I would say, then maybe there's something wrong with the messaging, or you need to pivot and rethink this idea.
I love that. And also advice I've heard from other people is there's tons of forums out there. There's lots of, I'm not on Reddit every day, but I'm pretty sure if I was trying to launch a new toaster, there's a toaster Reddit that people are talking about their toasters, what they like and what they don't like.
Yeah. Quora was a very, very strong resource for us as well. When I remember parents used to be asking, how are your kids moving? How do they do physical activity and things like this? And we would go ahead and tell them about our product at that time as well. So Quora was really good for us.
It's a great way to get feedback and also get interest.
Mm-hmm.
Question around how do you balance intuition and data?
Oh my God, Dhaval, I don't know how to, I don't know. Honestly, I think it comes with practice, and you're going to fail a lot of times. I failed a lot of times. Sometimes I purely went for data and it completely missed the mark. Initially, I would only trust intuition, but the only way you get better at it, it is like cooking with practice. It just gets better with time. And even now, I am really unsure sometimes, hey, if I say this, what's going to happen? But there are two ways of looking at it. Either you have an experience or an experiment. So both ways you learn.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. It's an art and a science for sure.
Yep.
Let's see. We've got a bunch of questions. We'll try to get to all of them. So we've got 5 left. Let's see. How to start with double market that requires saturate, not niche market.
Yeah, I don't understand that question.
Yeah, maybe they could clarify. Requires match rates. Double-sided marketplace that requires match rates.
So I would like to know exactly what this business is. It's a very, very specific question. If you're talking about double-sided market as in Amazon, that there is a seller side and a buyer side, and you are a platform that you have to match. This is actually something that is becoming very, very common during COVID. A lot of people are launching their e-commerce double-sided markets. So in that case, yes, it is a chicken and egg solution problem where if you don't have enough buyers or you don't have enough sellers, it's not going to work. This is where your intimate launch does really well. So instead of going public, you keep onboarding your sellers and keep sharing it with buyers either through newsletters or weekly updates of what is coming latest, and you can go ahead and share that. But again, I would like to know what business you're talking about. I took the example of Amazon, like the most famous double-sided market, but is there anything specific? And if you're talking about how to do market research, first of all, I would go to the customer, the person who is going to be paying for whatever you're creating this platform for, and ask them, what are you not getting in this existing scenario? Mm-hmm. And from all those lists, the wish list that this customer gives you, this potential customer who's going to be buying, you start finding the sellers or the providers. Don't go the other way that, hey, we have a platform of 50 sellers and providers, because maybe the customer doesn't want that. So go first to the customer and start from there. I hope that answers your question, but we'd love to know more specific.
Yeah. And they added a little color to it. It's a service marketplace, but yeah, exactly. It's a chicken and egg. I actually had one of our mentors advise one of our startups about this week. So it's fresh in my brain. But one piece of advice there is they said, similar to what you said, Arjita, it's very easy to get the sellers and very hard to get the buyers. So focus on the demand side that brings in revenue, because you can onboard a bunch of people to say, yeah, I'll sell your product, right? But if the most important part of that double-sided marketplace is the people who are going to pay to use the service. So I hope that helps, Steve. Let's see. Somebody's asking about any incentives, like a discount for them to try when you send DMs.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Simon, for that question. And yes, I did. I offered them a full 1 year free, but I also asked them if they're going to use that full 1 year free subscription of my EdTech platform, would they be able to share it in their stories with a special affiliate link, which I didn't pay them for, if they could share it. And all of them said yes. All the people who accepted this offer said yes and shared it. Also, we started measuring when each one of these people shared how many users were we getting. That's why we created a special link for each of our users, because we wanted to measure it. And that's where this intuition and the data balance also comes into play. On average, we were getting 50 downloads and 25 paid users from every time something got shared. And remember, these are not influencers that we went to. These are parents that we went to. In our case, our parents are influencers because parents generally have a strong network of other parents. So again, when I say go to influencers, the influencers for your industry may be different. It doesn't have to be someone who is an influencer on Instagram.
Great advice. And just to let you know, Arjita Sethi was one of our milestone makers, so I didn't realize until I read her name.
Oh my God! Amazing. I would love to connect with you. Tell me more about everything. Colin, please.
Amazing. Yeah, I'll connect you two guys. And I wish we had more time, but we ran out. Arjita, thank you so much for the time, sharing your expertise, and for just giving us such a great overview of the go-to-market and launch strategy. Half of the things I saw in the chat and in the Q&A box were thank you. This is amazing. This is clear. So everyone, I'm sure really appreciates it. We really appreciate you all joining us today, and we hope you can join us online soon. We've got some great events coming up, so keep a lookout for those. In our follow-up email, we'll send the recording, these slides, and upcoming events with you all. And so Arjita, thank you all. And for all of you out there and Digital Zoom Land, we hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Colin. And to everyone who joined today, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram. I'm very active there.
Amazing. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.